The day abop. Adriana tells Elisa humiliation in the clinic. And then, my beautiful people of the world now, everything is right with you? Another day has arrived, another chapter has arrived, and today, Friday, July 10th, 2026, chapter 46 of Quem, Cuida came to close the week with a lot of emotion, a lot of mystery, and of course that dose of healthy revolt that only Globo's soap opera of 9 knows how to deliver. Prepare the popcorn, adjust your heart, because this narration will be complete, detailed, the little way that only Brazil soap knows how to do for you. See? For those who followed us yesterday, you remember the emotional slap in the face that was that scene of Adriana having her job interview canceled just because she's a former inmate, right? Yeah, guys, that wound is still wide open, and today's chapter begins exactly by resuming this very delicate subject. Adriana, devastated, decides to vent and tell Elisa everything that happened, all the humiliation she suffered inside that clinic. And look, this scene promises to be one of those chilling ones because Elisa is one of those figures who is always around to welcome, to listen, to give that emotional support that Adriana so badly needs in this very delicate moment of her life. We know how hard Adriana is trying, how hard she's trying, prove to society and itself that it deserves a second chance, and seeing this type of rejection, this discrimination so clear, hurts anyone who is watching it with an open heart. It is from these moments that we understand why this soap opera has won over the public so much in recent months. And it is precisely here, in the account of this humiliation, that the novel reinforces a very important message to the public. Prejudice against people who have already served time remains a gigantic barrier to social reintegration, and Quem, Cuida is using fiction to put this theme in the conversation wheel of millions of Brazilians who watch the soap opera every night. That, my people, is the kind of content that makes us think, reflect, and yes, feel that healthy revolt that moves us to debate the subject. While Adriana vents to Elisa, on the other side of the plot, life follows its course full of twists and turns. And to make you even more glued to this narration, I want to ask our first question of the day now. Do you think Elisa will be able to convince Adriana not to give up looking for a decent job even after so much rejection? Comment down here yes or no, because we read a lot, see? And hold that one, because today's chapter still holds a darn mystery involving a very specific object. A watch. A watch that Bruna found and that will turn into a headache for more than one character in this plot. Pedro will give an opinion on this watch that looks beautiful at first glance, but hides quite a twist. I'll tell you everything in great detail in the next part of this narration, so stay with me, because this mystery of the watch will make your jaw drop. Before continuing, it is worth reinforcing, with all the responsibility that the world now values. Each information brought here is based on official and journalistic sources specialized in covering soap operas, without any invention on our part. We respect the production, respect the cast, and only bring you what was really publicized about the chapters of Quem, Cuida. Stay tuned, because today's soap opera is full of twists and turns, and we will tell each one of them with great affection for you. Part 2, The Mystery of the W, the discovery that will mexery everything. We're back, my people. And now it's time to tell this mystery that I left in the air in the previous part, because seriously, this watch story promises to become one of the most fascinating subjects of the week among fans of Quem, Cuida. Let's dig up with all the details that we managed to raise about chapter 46, shown this Friday, July 10th, 2026. Bruna, who had already been a character full of twists and turns throughout the plot, finds a watch, and this finding does not go unnoticed. She takes the object to Pedro, her husband, to find out his opinion. After all, Pedro has a closer look at this kind of thing, given his family history with jewelry, inheritances and valuables, always involving the name of Arthur, that character whose death remains one of the greatest of this 9 o'clock soap opera. And isn't it the first time that an object this small carries a gigantic weight within this plot, you see, guys? Whoever loves this type of hook, and we've already learned to distrust every detail that appears out of nowhere. And then, guys, Pedro drops the bomb. He tells Bruna that the watch she found is rare. Just imagining Bruna's face hearing this, right? A rare, valuable object appearing out of nowhere in the newlywed couple's life. That's the kind of detail that the soap opera masterfully uses to create that delicious suspense. And now, what's going to happen to that watch that is hammering in the head of the person accompanying it? And as if this climate around such a valuable object were not enough, we already know that this history of the clock will not stop there, because there is one more generic name in this plot that promises to add fuel to the fire. Gilda. And what Gilda will reveal about this watch will completely change the perception we had about Bruna's find. I'll tell you everything, in great detail, in the next part of this narration, because this plot twist is one of the good ones. In the meantime, World Now wants to know your opinion on this matter. Does this rare watch have any direct connection to Arthur's death, or is it just another coincidence within the novel's secretly filled plot? Leave what you think below in the comments, because we love reading your theories, see? And look, guys, it's interesting how the novel has been building, chapter after chapter, this atmosphere of suspense around Arthur's death. We have already seen several characters being directly or indirectly linked to this mystery. And now, with this clock coming into play, everything indicates that we are getting closer to discovering secrets that many people within this plot preferred to leave buried. It is this type of narrative construction that makes Quem, Cuida such a huge success on Globo Nights, capturing the attention of millions of viewers throughout Brazil. And that guarantees that right subject in the word of mouth the next day, whether at work, college, or there in the student's family group. It is worth reinforcing here once again the commitment of the World Now. Everything we bring is based on official and reliable journalistic sources of coverage of the 9 o'clock soap opera without any invention on our part. We deliver quick information, true and quality, because that's what you deserve to receive every day here on the channel. Stay with me that the next chapter of this mystery promises to be even more surprising. Part 3. The Virada. Gilda reveals the truth, the W, and we come back, my people. The time has come to unravel this turnaround that I promised back there, because seriously, this chapter 46 of Who Loves Care, this Friday, July 10th, 2026. It's been a real plot twist festival. And look, this one is one of the good ones, see? If you thought that today's chapter had already delivered everything, be prepared, because the soap opera still has more twists ahead of it. Do you remember that Pedro told Bruna that the watch she found was rare, implying that it was an object of considerable value? Well, folks, prepare your heart, because history takes a completely different direction. Gilda. Another important figure within this plot enters the scene and informs Bruna that in fact, the watch is fake. That's right, what you heard, fake. Folks, just for a minute and think to me, how can a watch look so rare, so valuable in Pedro's eyes, and ultimately turn out to be a complete farce? This type of contradiction within the plot is pure gold for those who like to theorize, because it opens up a gigantic range of possibilities. Is someone spreading false information on purpose? Is there a game of interest behind this clock that we still can't even imagine? Or is it simply a flaw, a mistake within the story itself that will be clarified later? There are people already commenting on social networks that this watch could be the key piece to better understand the plot of interests around Arthur's heritage. And I confess that this theory makes perfect sense to me, too. And here, World Now, is where I need to confess. This type of turnaround generates that healthy revolt in those who are accompanying it. Because we create uncertainty on top of a detail, get excited, theorize, and out of nowhere, history turns inside out. This is deliberate. Did you see it, guys? It's the trademark of a good soap opera out of 9, which knows exactly how to keep the audience close, chapter after chapter, without letting us breathe straight. It is also worth remembering that this watch appears within a much larger context of the plot, which involves Arthur's heritage, the interests of different characters on top of this heritage, and the silent dispute that unfolds behind the scenes of the family. Every valuable object that appears in this soap opera carries a gigantic symbolic weight, and this fake watch would be no different. The soap opera's production knows very well how to use small material details to build large plots of interest, greed, and family secrets. And this is what transforms a simple accessory into a magazine cover subject within the fiction universe. And more strong stuff is coming, because that's not the only hot topic in today's chapter. Pedro, who is still with discovering the truth about Arthur's death, goes looking for Adriana. And in that meeting, he perceives something that changes everything between the two. I'm going to tell you in detail exactly what happened in that meeting in the next part of this narration, so it doesn't come out of there, because the climate only increases. And before continuing, it is worth reinforcing in all seriousness that the World Now values. Every piece of information here is based on official and reliable journalistic sources covering the Globo 9 o'clock soap opera. Without any invention on our part, we respect the production, respect the cast, and only bring you what was really publicized about the chapters of Quem, Cuida. Hold this curiosity that I will explain everything now. Part 4. Our Cantinho do Carinho. A save for those who accompany people. before continuing to tell the bombastic details of Chapter 46 of Who Loves Care this Friday, July 10th, 2026, I want to make a quick pausinha here, because this is also very important for us. It's time for our Corner of Affection, that moment when we read and thank you for your comments in the last video we posted here in the world now, both on YouTube and on Toto-K. This interaction with you is one of the parts I like to do every day the most, you see, guys. We received a beautiful review from your Anderson Wellington Rocha Pimentel. They're from Karuwaru in Pernambuco, province of, who said that he has accompanied us since the time we were covering BBB, and that he has never stopped watching our videos about soap operas. Thank you very much, Anderson. The affection is magnificent, see? We also received a comment from Dona Cleonice Mora Lopez, a hairdresser from Uberaba in Minas Gerais, who said that he watches Quem Cuida religiously every day, and that he discovered our channel just over a month ago through a video about the soap opera Tres. Welcome to our family, Cleonice, and know that here we always follow back who subscribes, see? And the special message could not be missed for the young Tiago Costa Andrade, law student from Macapá, in Amapá, who commented that they are waiting for our narration every day even before the chapter is on TV, because they love to know the details in advance. A huge hug for you, Tiago. We continue together on this journey of good gossip and quality information. People exactly because of you, who share, who like, that we get by bringing this content every day, quick and detailed. And that's why I'm going to take advantage of this moment to leave a sincere message, and that's the only goal of this video. We are battling to reach 10,000 subscribers here on the channel. I know that there is still a beautiful path ahead, but God willing, with the strength of each one of you, we will be able to beat this mark, and this will help us too much to continue monetizing the channel and bringing more and more information quickly, true and quality for you, without any fuss. If you are not yet registered here in the world now, think fondly about being part of this family, because it costs just one click, and it helps a lot for this project to stay up, bringing soap opera, football, and entertainment news every day to you. And you can rest assured, because here we always follow back those who sign up. This is a promise from us to those who trust our work. See that, guys? We also like to advance these goals a little bit, so there's a challenge for you. If this video breaks a record of comments with yes or no, who knows? We can't reach these 10,000 subscribers faster, huh? Let's see what our community is capable of. And I don't forget to tag that friend who also goes around commenting on whoever loves takes care with you, because the more people in this conversation circle, the better the experience of everyone here on the channel. That said, I want to go back to the soap opera, because today's chapter still has a meeting like that between Pedro and Adriana that promises to mess with everyone. I'm going to tell every detail in the next part of this narration, so stay with me, because the emotion only increases from here. Part 5. The Compliment. PE discovers that Adriana already's everything. We return, my people. And now the time has come to recount that meeting that promises to be one of the most tense in today's chapter. Let's unravel this moment between Pedro and Adriana in detail, within Chapter 46 of Who Loves Care. Shown this Friday, July 10th, 2026. If you followed our narration yesterday, you already know that this subject had been constructed very carefully by the screenwriters, and today it finally wins a chapter to match. After all that horrible scene from yesterday, when Adriana discovered through Bruna's own gesture taking the forgotten cell phone to the shelter that Pedro was married, it was only a matter of time before this subject came up between the two more directly. And that's exactly what happened. Pedro is looking for Adriana, and in that meeting, he realizes that she already knows about his marriage to Bruna. People, imagine this climate, that heavy silence, that look that says it all even before any word was spoken. Pedro, who may still be trying to figure out the best way to tell Adriana the truth, is faced with the reality that she has already discovered everything on her own without needing any explanation. And that, let's face it, completely changes the dynamics of the conversation between the two, because it takes control of the narrative that he might have been planning to tell in his own way. And here, world now, is where we need to stop and comment. Is Pedro going to try to justify himself? Will he admit that maybe there is still some unresolved thing between him and Adriana? The novel is building this emotional triangle with a lot of competence, mixing marriage, the past, and feelings that insist on not disappearing, and it is exactly this type of plot that makes us curious for the next chapters. It is worth remembering that this is not just any atmosphere within the soap opera, because Pedro is a figure who carries many internal conflicts. his recent marriage to Bruna, which according to the plot themselves was not born in such a romantic way, his with finding out who killed Arthur, and now this reunion full of tension with Adriana. It's funny on top of a curtain, layer on top of a layer, exactly what makes a good soap opera out of 9 capture the attention of the Brazilian public so much, chapter after chapter, without giving anyone room to pull away from the screen. And then, guys, it's time for our second question of the day, because we love to know your opinion about the direction of this plot. Do you think that Pedro should be more transparent with Adriana about the problems of his marriage to Bruna, even knowing that this can rekindle old feelings between them? Comment down here yes or no, because we really want to know what you think about this emotional triangle. While this subject boils between Pedro and Adriana, the soap opera reserves yet another moment of family tension, this time involving threats and protection within Adriana's own family. I'm going to tell in detail this next chapter of this story in the next part of this narration, so it stays on, because things only heat up from here. And before continuing, I reinforce once again, with all the responsibility that the world now values. Each information brought here is based on official and reliable journalistic sources, covering Globo's 9 o'clock soap opera, with no invention on our part, always respecting the production, cast, and original story. Part 6. Adriana Vera, Leoa and Pilar. Threats the family. The climate that will leave you revolved. We are back, my people. And look, this part of the narrative promises to be one of those that makes blood boil, because chapter 46 of Quem, Cuida, this Friday, July 10th, 2026, still keeps 2 moments of great family tension. Let's tell everything in detail. First subject, Adriana defends Mauricio from Otoniel's attitudes. People, those who follow the novel know that the relationship between Otoniel and Mauricio has been worn out for some time, with the right to that moment when Otoniel found a book inserted in his grandson's backpack and decided to confront him for it. Well, this character continues to make a chapter, and now it's Adriana's turn to enter the scene to protect Mauricio. And look, this attitude by Adriana shows a very beautiful side of the profession, see guys? Even after everything she's going through, even with her personal life in pieces, her heart broken because of Pedro, her self-esteem shaken by the clinic's rejection, Adriana still finds the strength to protect those she loves, to defend her own family against any kind of injustice or hostility. It is this type of attitude that makes the public root so much for her, even in the midst of so many difficulties. And then, now, the question remains. Will Otoniel finally understand that he needs to treat Mauricio with more respect and understanding, or will this relationship between grandfather and grandson remain worn out for even more chapters? This is the type of family conflict that generates that healthy revolt in those who watch, because we always hope that families understand each other, especially when it involves children and adolescents in the midst of the confusion of adults. And if you thought that alone would be reason enough to make this chapter tense, get ready, because there's more. Pilar, that character who has already demonstrated several times to be hostile towards Adriana and her family throughout the plot, decides to go further this time. She threatens Adriana's family. People, seriously, this type of attitude is unacceptable, and it is precisely this type of behavior that makes us feel that desire to enter the screen and protect the characters that we already love so much. Pilar has already started showing an increasingly hostile behavior over the last few chapters, confronting Adriana on several occasions, questioning the presence of her family in certain places, and now, with this direct threat, the tension between the two families reaches a new level. The question remains, how far is Pilar willing to go to protect her interests? And will Adriana be able to protect her family from this threat, or will this story gain even more serious contours in the next chapters? It is worth reinforcing once again, with all the responsibility that the world now values. Each information brought here is based on official and reliable journalistic sources covering the Globo 9 o'clock soap opera, without any invention on our part, always respecting the production, the cast, and each character of this story so rich in detail. And to close this part with a taste of I want more, I leave here a curiosity. While all this family tension is taking place, there is a girl who is keeping a huge secret about Arthur's death, and she cannot tell anyone what she knows. Who is this girl and why can't she speak? I will tell everything in great detail already in the next and penultimate part of this narration. So stay with me because this mystery will surprise you. Part 7. The Secret. Nancy can't tell. Arthur's mystery of death expresses. We arrived, my people of the world now, in the final and most exciting part of chapter 46 of Who Loves Care, this Friday, July 10th, 2026. And look, I'm already warning you. This outcome will leave a lot of people thinking, theorizing, and mainly with a lot of desire to watch the next chapter as soon as possible. As you already know, Arthur's death remains one of the biggest in this 9 o'clock soap opera, and Pedro is determined not to give up until he finds out who was responsible for this death. And it is exactly within this context that the plot gives us one of the most distressing moments of today's chapter. Nancy overhears Silvana reporting details about Arthur's death to Laurentino. Only Nancy can't express herself, can't tell anyone what she just heard. Folks, stop for a minute and imagine this anguish. Learning of potentially decisive information about a crime, about a death that torments so many characters in this plot, and not being able to share this with anyone. This type of situation is heartbreaking, because it creates silent suffering within the audience itself, while further increasing the tension for the public, which remains in the audience. Will Nancy find a way to reveal what she knows? Will anyone notice that she is trying to communicate something important? And then, world now. It's time for our final question today, because I really want to know the opinion of each of you about this mystery that is dominating the soap opera. Do you believe that Nancy will be able to somehow reveal the secret she heard about Arthur's death before it's too late? Comment down here yes or no. Participate in this conversation with us, because your opinion is what matters most here on the channel. And as this mystery surrounding Arthur's death continues to deepen, with Silvana and Laurentino talking about details Nancy cannot reveal, and with Pedro increasingly obstinate in discovering the truth, it is clear that Cuida is building one of the most anticipated outcomes of Brazilian teledramaturgy in recent times. Each chapter delivers a new piece of this puzzle, and we, here from the world now, promise to continue bringing every detail to you, with all the wealth of information you deserve. Well, folks, we've reached the end of this full narration of today's chapter of the soap opera, Cuida. We brought Adriana's outburst with Elisa about the humiliation suffered at the clinic, the mystery of the rare watch that turned out to be fake, the confrontation between Pedro and Adriana, Adriana's passionate defense by Mauricio against Otoniel's attitudes, the threat of Pilar against Adriana's family, and this distressing mystery involving Nancy, Silvana, and Laurentino on Arthur's death. Thank you so much for making this far with us, really. Every minute that you dedicate watching, commenting yes or no, sharing with that friend who also loves soap operas, and subscribing to the channel is what keeps this project alive and growing every day. Remember, our only goal today remains the 10,000 subscribers, and together, God willing, we get there. A tight hug from the world now, and see you in the next video with much more news, much more good gossip, and much more quality information for you. See you soon.